Alright, so I've turned on my power meter here, and as we look at this right now, my voltage is maybe about a volt. Okay, and as I crank this up, I can crank my voltage up. Okay, and I'm actually just using the current knob here because this resistor is such a low resistance. It's that's the maximum voltage I can get out of this. So you see here it's 11.3 volts. That's actually the max that it can do, because remember, if you're at 10 volts, let's say this go back down to 10 volts, make the math easy, right? So we've cranked this down to 10 volts. All right, so there's 10 volts. But this guy is 5 ohms, which means that I'm getting about 2 ampere through my resistor. So I'm getting about 2 ampere through my resistor. Okay, so here are my scaling equations inside the ladder logic. Remember that the voltage is coming in, it's being converted to milliamps. And so I have to scale that. It's actually microamps on the converter. This is the compact logic PLC. So we are using the compact logic PLC we're using is the L23E. And so we're bringing the voltage in. See if I can focus on that again. Okay, so we're bringing the voltage in, and you can see that the voltage is just bouncing around. It's going everywhere from -1 amp to 24 amps. But if you look at the current, this is our power supply is really noisy here, so that it's bouncing around. But the current is holding around about 1.5 amperes. Okay, so right now I've got it set that I'm actually getting about 1.5 ampere of current out of this, but the voltage is bouncing around. So let's look at why it's bouncing around. So if we come over here and look at our analog card, and I go to my input configuration, you can see that I do not have a filter set on the voltage. Channel 0 is the voltage. There's no filter set. And so if I select that, I'm going to set a 5 hertz filter like I had on the current, and I'm going to apply that. And I'm going to come back then to my ladder logic and look at this. And now you can see that though it's still bouncing around, it's much better. So we're getting about 9 to 10 volts, and our current is reading about 1.6 our current is reading about 1.6 ampere. All right, so there's our voltage and our current. Now the reason that is I did not actually measure my shunt correctly. So I believe my shunt is a little bit shorter than it should have been, and therefore my current really should be at 2 amperes, and it's reading a little bit low because my shunt is a little bit short. So you need to make sure that you calculate and measure your shunt correctly so that you get the correct current.